is Alexander. Shabbat for three. Bingo!
Butler will get it for the win. Got it! He is hard to believe.
Here's Jordan.
Yes! The Magic, a 360 turn with the dribble. Magic down the middle. Gives underneath the Worthy. Slammed up.
Third in the corner. Double fake.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another post-game recap. NBA Playoffs 2022. Second round. Game ones. 2 of them tonight. But before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dripper Podcast, Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, and of course, to follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dime Dropper Pod. For tonight's episode, we got 2 games, 2 game ones tonight. One between the Philadelphia 76ers, the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, against the number 1 seeded Miami Heat. And then the same matchup on the other side with the number 1 seeded Phoenix Suns and the number 4 Dallas Mavericks. Let's start out with the Miami Heat and the Sixers. So obviously no Joel Embiid, and we know what that means. He's been arguably the best player in the league this season. Orbital fracture. And so he was out. He's going to be out for the first 2 games at least. So everybody's saying the same thing. It's going to take a vintage James Harden performance for the Sixers to win, or for the Sixers to even get close. And we did not get that. James Harden absolutely was not good enough. But it wasn't just him. It was a huge barrage in the second half from the Miami Heat that kind of took the game over. But it was also just a case of a mismatched talent. But let's get into specifics. Super chats are turned on, by the way, for the live subscribers. If you want to drop $1 a dime. I will also be talking about, obviously, the Suns and the Mavs, but a little bit on my LA Kings, who came out with the victory tonight in our first playoff game since 2018. We got swept that year. So if I'm not mistaken, that may be our first playoff win since the Sharks series was that 2016? I think it was 2016 we played the Sharks and lost 4-1. But whatever. Let's start with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat. So I've been saying, as I said in the preview of the last episode, that the Heat switch everything strategy. They're going to do the same thing to James Harden. They're going to throw so many bodies at him, and they're going to make him work for everything. And you started to see a little bit of that in the beginning of the game. Bam Adebayo, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker. All 5 were getting a look at James Harden. And the thing is, James Harden actually wasn't playing as selfishly or as ball dominant as I thought he was going to play, or maybe that he should have been playing. I thought he was letting Maxey get his shots, letting Tobias get his shots, and overall, it was actually working in the first half. If you look at the first half of it as a Sixers fan, you'd say that was a good half of basketball. The one thing, though, that didn't bode well for Philly was the start of the game. And a big reason for that was that Glenn Rivers, for whatever reason, I mean, no other reason that besides that he's Glenn Rivers, is stuck in like 2015 and has this DeAndre Jordan affinity. Like, hey, man, let's do this like it's Lob City and we're getting a second chance at this. No. DeAndre Jordan is old. He's washed. And he was looking awful in the beginning. Just not nearly as young and spry as Bam Adebayo, who was catching lobs, rolling to the basket, finishing, following up. Jimmy Butler misses on pick and rolls when they were in drop coverage. DJ, he was going Kwame style. Didn't catch the ball one time in the first couple of minutes. I'm pretty sure he got a travel or something, or either an offensive foul or a travel or moving screen. Let's see how many turnovers he had. See, 2 turnovers. He played 17 minutes, and I'm pretty sure those 2 turnovers were right in the beginning of the game. The Miami Heat, so Bam Adebayo, very lively in the beginning on the offensive glass, on the boards, caught a lob from Gabe Vincent, who started in place of the injured Kyle Lowry, who, by the way, was very active on the sideline, just very into the game, so you love to see that from a teammate. But I thought Gabe Vincent was doing okay, just at least he's a threat, creating in pick and roll. He's got a great jump shot, so you got to honor that. And Jimmy Butler, though, overall was the guy that was setting the tone in the beginning in terms of ball handling for the Heat. Got into the mid-range area a couple of times, found Bam for some nice rolls, and even hit a 3 in the beginning. The Heat were up 18-6, hit him with the first punch, 25-11. But the Sixers competed, and you had to love that. DeAndre Jordan came out of the game. They put in Paul Reed. He played 13 minutes. You saw them go to more switch everything. And you also saw them go to a zone, which Kenny and Chuck were talking about on the show and disagreeing with. I actually think the zone threw Miami off for a little bit. And it was so shocking to me that, again, it's funny because the Heat were the ones that busted out the zone on the Celtics in 2020. And they're a team that actually can play. I've seen them play zones for kind of extended stretches. And they are doing the same thing I criticize other teams of doing. Just running high pick and roll or high pick and pop as if they're still in man. What happened to the basic principles of moving the ball, putting a guy in the high post, and finding an open shot with a couple of ball reversals, swinging it? And the funny part is when they went to that, they sat, I think it was PJ Tucker or Bam at the high post. Gabe Vincent got a wide open layup, or Caleb Martin got an open layup. I think it was Caleb Martin. It's I don't know why they act like this is rocket science. They don't want to play basketball that way. They want to continue with this high pick and roll nonsense, but it's mind-boggling to me. I don't know if that's a coach thing. I'd figure the coaching staff should be like, dude, good guys, just move the ball like college basketball style. But whatever. Stupid will be stupid. But the Sixers overall with that zone and that small ball lineup did some work. It obviously spread the floor a little bit as well. Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey were able to get into the paint a bit, score. Tyrese Maxey had a little bit of a tougher night than normal, but Tobias Harris was just awesome in terms of offense, and especially in the first half. He was being really physical and getting his shoulder into guys and creating separation that way. He's really good at that, and turning over his right shoulder, which he's also been very good at. He kind of can hit turnarounds over both shoulders. Good footwork, and Tobias was doing his thing, absolutely doing his thing. Tyrese Maxey and James Harden had a nice run at the end of the first half. Harden was able to get to the basket a bit, although I didn't like his approach in terms of his shot chart kind of thing. His first 3 shots were all step back threes. And part of that is because he just cannot get the step the same way he used to. He just can't, but at times he still does. So there's no reason for him to settle so much, but he's just out of shape compared to what he used to be. He gets tired easily. He doesn't have the same lift in his jumper. But that being said, the Heat were turning the ball over and playing pretty stupidly, shooting the first 3 that they saw. No Duncan Robinson tonight at all. Coach's decision. But they were shooting some of the first 3s that they saw. Max Strus didn't have a good shooting night tonight. He was 2 for 8, 1 of 7 from deep. So then Gabe Vincent was 1 of 7 from deep. They were 9 for 36 from 3. So I thought a lot of them were good shots, but some of them were kind of rushed in the first half and just they could have moved the ball a little bit more. Bad decisions, turnovers, and part of that was that zone. And the Philadelphia 76ers actually led 51-50 at halftime, but it absolutely didn't continue. In the second half, the Heat turned up the heat. Tyler Hero was unbelievable all game. I think he was either him or Bam, but he was my player of the game. He was scoring in pick and roll. He was getting into the mid-range, and you saw the Sixers go back to man in the second half, and they kind of got cooked, and they were going to get cooked regardless. But Tyler Hero was hitting deep threes, deep. He hit this one that was at least a 30-footer. And Tyler Hero, he had a great first-round series against Atlanta. He had a great season. He's going to win Sixth Man of the Year. You saw a little bit of Gabe Vincent, a little bit of Jimmy Butler. Even though Jimmy didn't have the most efficient night, he was still making plays, still making good reads. He only had 3 assists, but he was still making plays. He's still a threat on those pick and rolls. But one thing I did notice about Jimmy Butler, though, tonight, he got blown by, I counted 3 times, but it may have been more. But he got blown by 3 times, which is rare. His on-ball defense, I expect him to be a little bit better. But the Heat, they were up by 8 after 3, 30-21 in favor of them in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, just more Tyler Hero. He kind of shut the door, was getting off, making some tough shots. And the zone was weak when the Heat woke up. The Sixers had a 4-minute scoring drought in the fourth. They couldn't get anything. James Harden only shot 4 times in the second half. He couldn't get anything. So shout out to everybody on the Heat. PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo was holding it down. And Bam Adebayo went 8 for 10. Probably the player of the game for me. 24 points, 12 rebounds. His switchability, his rim protection, he's just fantastic. 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block, plus 26. And all his shots were in the paint. He didn't settle. His first basket was a beautiful turnaround over the left shoulder. He didn't have many ISO looks. He had 2 of them, and he made them both. He should have really been 9 for 10. He missed a putback layup from point-blank range, but he was awesome. I thought this was one of his best games of the playoffs, if not the best so far. Jimmy Butler was inefficient, but I thought he was pretty good overall. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 5 for 16 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. He can do without the 4 3-point attempts, 4 for 4 from the line. and PJ Tucker against his former teammate. And one thing you noticed about Harden, he doesn't really have that much in his toolbox, man. It's just it's the same thing. I always thought he was predictable and abused rules, but was just quicker. Tween cross tries to lull you to sleep. If you reach, he tries to blow by you and get into your body to get a foul. If you force him right, which a lot of people like to do, he likes to get into the step back that way. When he's going left, he doesn't really love getting into the step back. Sometimes he'll pull back, but usually he's trying to go into your body if he's going left. If he's going right, he likes to get into that step back or try to lock your arm with his left hand and throw himself at him or throw himself at the defender. He has little tricks, but if I'm the defender, I would play him a little bit to his right, but don't give him the lane. Just play him a little bit to his right and try to bait him into that step back because he likes that on the right-hand side when you're playing him that way. And you're going to live with the results overall because he's going to get fatigued. He was getting tired tonight. I think that's part of the reason why he only shot 4 times in the second half. He got gassed because the Heat are going to be physical. The Heat are going to have multiple. PJ Tucker's doing a job. He's going to give him a tough time all series. PJ had 10 points, 4 for 9 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. And especially the first quarter when the Heat went up 18-6, PJ was everywhere. He was lively on defense, forcing turnovers on Harden. And Harden had, let's see how many turnovers he had tonight. 5. So there you go. 5 assists, 5 turnovers, 16 points, 5 for 13 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, and only 4 of 4 from the line. And I liked it because there was one time where Harden just did not get the step on PJ, locked his arm and tried to just throw himself at PJ and got an offensive foul, and it just put the biggest smile on my face. Like, that dude just tries every one of these little tactics to try to get fouled. He doesn't play basketball, and now that he's lost a step, you're starting to see it, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. He's past it, and we'll see what happens in this series, but there's no reason why the Heat shouldn't go up 2-0 with this Embiid situation. He's not the same as what he used to be. His prime was 2000, I want to say 14, 15 was the start, but really wasn't. It was really when D'Antoni came. So about 3 years, 3 really fantastic offensive years, heliocentric ball. 4 years, you want to talk 2020, but dead and gone now. Not to say that he didn't have great years in 15, 14, 13, and even last year before the injury. But that hamstring clearly took a toll on him. 106-92 is the final in Game 1. The Miami Heat continued to be undefeated at home in these playoffs. Tobias Harris was the best performer for Philly. He had 27 points on 11 of 18 shooting, 1 for 4 from deep, and 4 of 5 from the line. 6 rebounds to go along with it. Danny Green only had 5 points, only got 6 shots off, was 1 of 5 from deep. And then Tyrese Maxey, he had 19 points. He was 6 for 6 from the line, but 6 for 15 from the field. So only 40% shooting, and then 1 for 6 from deep. The Sixers as a team shot 6 for 34 from 3. Just terrible shots in the fourth. Just all threes. Just really all threes. Not making the defense work. And a perfect epitome of that. There's no bench either for the Sixers. Absolutely no contributions off the bench. You got Tyler Hero and Caleb Martin coming off. I mean, Caleb Martin's giving you 6 points, but he's also giving you good defense. And also Victor Oladipo. I shouldn't forget about him. Played 27 minutes tonight. Played some solid defense. And just, even though he's 0 for 5 from 3, it's just another guy that can handle the ball, can play, make, and pick and roll a bit. But Tyler Hero, 25 points, 9 for 17 shooting, and 4 for 6 from deep. He was awesome. 3 for 3 from the line, and 7 assists and 0 turnovers. So fantastic night for Tyler Hero. But yeah, this is the perfect epitome of the Sixers night right here. 22 minutes for George Niang. Donut, 0 for 7 from the field. And funny enough, it was +6 in the plus-minus, but that's why plus-minus does not tell the full story. He was nothing. Sixers lose it, as I said, 106-92. And yeah, we're on to Game 2. Let's move on now to the nightcap, the second of the doubleheader, Dallas and Phoenix. I had the Phoenix Suns winning this series in 7 games, and tonight they played pretty damn well. First quarter, they started out similar to how the Miami Heat started, through the first punch. And Devin Booker was back, no minutes restriction, played 38 minutes, looked like the Devin Booker that we're accustomed to, like the Devin Booker we saw in Game 2 against New Orleans. And in the first quarter, I was getting kind of New Orleans vibes from Book. He was getting off in every single way. First play, that hesitation he does when he's in transition, because that transition 3 is really believable, and you know he can hit it. So you step up, he has that hezzy and goes all the way. He had his first bucket that way. And then the first couple baskets, you could see that the Phoenix Suns defense was going to be totally different than the Utah Jazz. Luka Doncic, by the way, I tracked here. I'm going to read the first couple possessions. These are the first quarter, half-court possessions from the Dallas Mavericks. I want you to tell me in the comments what you guys think of these. Ready? Luka, Spain, pick and roll, turnover. By the way, Suns defended this really well. Chris Paul, Mikhail Bridges, who started out on Luka, but Mikhail, Ayton, Chris Paul, and Jay Crowder. Devin Booker didn't really guard him much, but all those guys, and Cam Johnson, they just did despite what the stats say, they did not let him get easy stuff. I'll tell you that, especially in the first quarter. But here we go. Luka, Spain, pick and roll, turnover. Luka shot. Luka high pick and roll, turnover number 2. By the way, Booker with a nice lob to Bridges for that 4-0. And then Brunson ISO versus DeAndre Ayton on a switch, missed. Luka high pick and roll, first basket after trailing 9-0. Luka high pick and roll leads to a Luka ISO. Luka high pick and roll. Luka high pick and roll. Luka high pick and roll. Luka pick and pop. Dinwiddie gets the ball with 5 seconds left on the shot clock and turns it over. 18-6 Phoenix, timeout Dallas. So you tell me what you think of that. But the Suns are doing a good job playing with a lot of pace. Mikhail Bridges, he can get out and run. Jay Crowder in transition for those threes. And finally, Jay Crowder had a game tonight where he was hitting shots. He only got 6 of them, but he made his first 4. 11 points, all of which were in the first half. 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He's going to be active on defense and be able to switch on to multiple guys, including Luka, who he blocked on one occasion tonight. But finally, after a tough series against New Orleans. But anyway, come back from the timeout. So one reason why the Mavs were struggling with that pick and roll, Luka high pick and roll is usually amazing offense, usually gets you a good shot. Well, this is where we talk about DeAndre Ayton. They're going to play drop coverage. The Mavs are going to do the same thing, but the Ayton is better in that drop coverage than Powell. He's a better rim protector. He's stronger, and he's just he's more aware and plays angles better and knows where to be. And you also have to talk about the Phoenix Suns' length getting over those screens. Mikhail Bridges is everywhere on defense. He's getting over those screens. And a lot of times those in drop coverage, those are forcing kickouts and letting the Suns wings get out and force them up, run them off the line, make them make multiple plays. The Suns rotations are really good. They make you make the extra pass and all that kind of stuff. But Luka is capable of making those reads. Unlike some of these smaller guards, in the case of Donovan Mitchell and them, Luka can see over the defense. He's tall. He's very physical. He does a great job of keeping the defender getting over the screen behind him. And Luka was finding guys for open shots. But when Dwight Powell was in the game early, he's a pick and roll man. So they can pack that paint and then get out to the shooters, which are Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith. And Luka was getting in some tough positions. And in the beginning of the game, I thought Luka was neglecting the mid-range a bit the first couple of shots, those first couple of possessions. And that's part of the reason why he was getting turnovers. And Luka has the exact same thing as LeBron, where his release is kind of over his head to the left, where he can't stop on a dime going to his right. Kind of the same way I say about Chris Paul going to his left. But I don't think with Chris Paul, I don't think it has much to do with his mechanics. I think maybe they do. I have to look more closely at that. But actually tonight, he did hit as close to a stop on a dime as you can see from him, but it was with space in front of him. And, he kind of does set his feet. It's not like with a guy right next to him stopping on a dime, but it was pretty close to it. I don't know if it's mechanics with Chris Paul, but pay attention. I've been saying that for a while. However, Luka, he likes going to his left when he goes to that jump shot. When he goes to his right, he likes getting into your chest. And he did that a lot tonight. He was so strong going to the rim. He had a big first half points-wise. I just thought that it took a while in the beginning because you were just seeing the way that the Suns were going to guard him. And by the way, DeAndre Ayton's ability to late switch on those drops, on that drop coverage. Sometimes he's left when Luka pulls it back out, and he was left guarding him. And he guarded Brunson well. He guarded Luka well. He was just everywhere, Ayton. And then on the offensive end, getting jump hooks, showing his size is going to be an issue in this series. Turnarounds over the right shoulder, skill. You're finding out this. The Clippers found out last year, and the Mavs are finding out this year the difference between playing Rudy Escar-Gobert in a series and then playing Ayton. For me, I take Ayton as the player because both ends of the court. I just don't think a skilled big man. When I'm talking skill, I'm talking mid-range, jump hooks, the ability to dump it down in the post and get a bucket, the ability to have barbecue chicken when it's a small guy switched on you. That's a luxury that the Suns have, that a lot of teams do not have. And Ayton, when he plays like this, the Suns may be the best team in the league. Rudy Escar-Gobert, I don't give a shit about this French national team's excuse anymore. If you really had the confidence in yourself in that bag, first of all, he just doesn't have the post fundamentals. Let's be serious. He doesn't have the post fundamentals. I don't care what he showed in that Olympics. I just don't give a shit because he's had enough chances to prove it at this point. I know Donovan Mitchell and all these guys are selfish. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? last year, this year, it doesn't matter. DeAndre Ayton has more skill. You can take Escar Gobert if you want, great defender, as amazing defender, but I don't think Ayton's a bad defender. I think Ayton's pretty decent in space as well. I think he protects the rim pretty well. And in the playoffs, I'm taking Ayton. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. You can disagree in the comments, but Ayton was making a difference. Jump hooks, turnarounds, dump offs. If the defense is in rotation and you get somebody switched on to him late, Jalen Brunson's rotating onto me. I'm going to put my hands up high. Let me get this layup. It doesn't have to be Jalen Brunson either. Spencer Dinwiddie, you name it. He was doing it. CP3, by the way, his defense was very impressive. That when I said Spencer Dinwiddie caught the ball with 5 seconds left and turned it over, that's because Chris Paul stripped him. Chris Paul, after game 1 of the Pelican series, he's really turned it up. Actually, no, I think it was game 2. After game 2 of the Pelican series, he's really turned it up on defense. But as I said, Devin Booker in the first quarter, scorching in every single way, getting to the elbow, fall away 3. But you know what was the change? Maxi Kleber coming in for Dwight Powell, and now they had a pick and pop threat. So here's what we had after the timeout when they were down 18-6. Luka pick and pop with Kleber, turns into a Luka ISO. Dinwiddie pick and pop. Brunson catch and shoot with the 2 of the shot to beat the shot clock. So the thing about Brunson is he started out 0 for 3, but 2 shots were within 1 second of catching the ball. One of them was a layup where Booker blocked him from behind on a great defensive rotation. That's fine. You're under the basket, you go for the layup. You get blocked, goes out of bounds, big fucking deal. It's not on Brunson. That's fine. Then he misses a shot that he usually makes, but quick shot. Hasn't really touched the ball much at all. I just described to you all those possessions that Luka had, that Brunson was just watching, along with everyone else. Now, I don't know if I'm not blaming Luka fully. I don't know if that's by design. If kids said, let's just go high pick and roll with Luka every time down in the beginning, or if that was a Luka thing. But so Brunson started off 0 for 3. So we had Luka pick and pop, and then Brunson got his second foul on an offensive foul that I thought was very, very harsh in my eyes, and it got him his second foul. So then it became Luka high pick and roll, Luka pick and pop, Luka pick and pop, Luka ISO drive and kick, Dinwiddie ISO, Luka ISO. And, it was okay. They were getting decent shots, a lot of Maxi Kleber threes. He was super hot from 3. Let's see how many he made the whole game. He made, I think, 4 in the first half, though. 5 in the game. So he went 6 for 9 from the field and 5 for 8 from 3. Shades of game 2 against the Jazz. But Luka, he was just doing everything, and Brunson sat out the rest of this. Actually, no, Brunson came back in, I believe, and got his 3rd foul. And that was tough. That was really tough. But those were all the first quarter looks. And after the first quarter, they were down by 10, 35-25. Cam Johnson, by the way, came in, played strong defense, making shots. You know how he does it. But a lot of Luka for me in the first quarter. A lot of Luka. Second quarter, still the same thing. Maxi Kleber hitting threes. Luka was using his body well, getting into those creeks and crevices in that drop coverage and, just weaving. He just plays at his own pace. He's so patient, knows how to use his body super well, keep the defender behind him, and just makes life hell for those bigs in the drop coverage. But, something about the Suns tonight they had trouble with in the Pelican series. Their bench wasn't great outside of JaVale McGee and I guess Cam Johnson. But this game tonight, they got 19 really solid minutes from Cam Payne, especially in the second quarter. He was getting to the basket, hit a couple of floaters, hit 1 3. He was 4 for 8 from the field tonight, 9 points, 5 assists, creating that pick and roll. And the Suns were just moving the ball so well, especially in the second half. But Cam Payne giving them those minutes was very big. And in the second quarter, as I said, Jay Crowder continued to hit, Cam Johnson. Chris Paul ended the quarter well. The Mavs, Luka started getting really going in the second quarter. And there was a stretch where Luka came out to start the quarter where Brunson and Dinwiddie had a little bit more of a chance to kind of try to get themselves going. And Brunson missed, you could tell with Brunson when he was against Jay Crowder, Mikhail Bridges, or Ayton, that ISO, I would not go at it if I were him. Because the length, this is not Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Mike Conley. Or Jordan Clarkson. These are proper wing defenders. Ayton is huge. I just think that that's not a favorable matchup for Brunson. Shamet, Payne, Chris Paul, that's fine. Even Booker, I wouldn't necessarily take my chances. And that's going to be a little tougher if he can't get on those guys. That's if they're switching on him, though. If they're playing the pick and roll straight up, more Brunson touches. And they're gonna. They're not just going to switch everything, I don't think. But they may on Brunson. Who knows? That could be Monty's strategy. That'll be something to see in the second game. But I thought that Brunson, in the second half, he was 5 for 10. So he started getting going. And I know that's when the defense relaxes a bit. But Spencer Dinwiddie also he was just a pedestrian, did not touch the ball. He missed a layup when Luka was out. And I was just like, oh my goodness, he's clearly out of rhythm. He only got 4 shots in the first half, missed them all. And, Luka was carrying at the end of the second quarter. But Spencer only having 4 shots at the half. Jalen Brunson was, 1 of 6. I know that was foul trouble, but I just thought in the first quarter was poor. You need to get him going early. And now I'm not fully blaming that on Luka. It's got to be on Jason Kidd to some extent too. But I'm going to stand by that. Second half, I thought the Mavs played fine. But it's that first half to me. In terms of offense, I think the Mavs played fine in the second half. But in that first half, I just think that was too Luka heavy. Do you see this? That shot chart I talked to, like all those possessions I just laid out, that was in chronological order. Those were all the half-court possessions that the Mavs had in the first quarter. I just think that's too heliocentric. That looked like last year to me in that. But anyway, third quarter, fairly even. But the Phoenix Suns, you saw the Mavs make an adjustment, right? Less drop coverage, more just hard hedging and recovering. Trying to take away Devin Booker's drive, trying to take away Devin Booker, Chris Paul getting to mid-range. But the Suns do such a great job of moving the ball fast. And obviously they're small. They have Jay Crowder at the 4 and Mikhail Bridges and Devin Booker at the 3. So if Devin Booker's on the ball, Chris Paul is one of those shooters, and he'll move the ball quick and make the right decision or can penetrate, and vice versa. And they were just moving the ball beautifully. Everyone was hitting threes. Finally, the Phoenix Suns, they were pretty due for a solid three-point shooting night, and tonight they got one. 11 for 28 from deep. Also, Ayton, when he was getting the ball in the post or just on little pick-and-pop push shots. I'm sorry, not pick-and-pop or pick-and-rolls. Push shots, jumpers, whatever. Getting the ball. Even one time, they hedge recovered, got the ball to a 4-on-3 kind of situation. Somebody tossed the ball to Ayton for mid-range in the corner, not a 3 in the deep corner, mid-range, cash. So the Suns were just making him pay. 27-23 in favor of them in the quarter, and the Mavs started looking tired, missing threes, and you could just see the toll getting taken on Luka. He was getting a little fatigued. It looked like he was grabbing. He got hit in the what was it? In the leg area. And he looked like he was limping for a second and just looked a little bit tired. I thought Devin Booker, even though he went really cold in the second half. And that's something that I've noticed a couple of times this season, starting to go cold in second halves. You can start out games electric, but he needs to find a way to, because you know what happens is I think he gets tired and he starts settling for jump shots and can't get to the rim as much at the beginning of the game, but he needs to continue to be aggressive. I don't know if that's a conditioning thing or a decision-making thing. But again, this goes back to why I think part of the reason why I think Kobe Bryant is so underrated. His conditioning at the end of games was like, he grew as the game went on. That was special about him. And that's something that you don't talk about when you talk about better passing, better shooting, better defense, that categorizes that shit. No. Devin Booker, though, was still creating great shots for the team. Don't get it twisted. Great shots for the team. The problem is, though, the Mavs getting burned on that defense. Ayton was dominant. Suns hitting everything. And in the fourth quarter, you saw a little bit of a push. It was snuffed out towards the end. Brunson got going better. Dinwiddie, I'm pretty sure he was 3 for 4 in the second half. He finished 3 of 8. So he was better. And the Mavs made a little run when it was already over. Luka Doncic had 45 points on 15 for 30 shooting, so 50%, played 44 minutes, 4 for 11 from deep, created a ton of good shots for his team, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 turnovers, though. I still think it was too much Luka ball. He's going to get tired. I don't think he's going to be able to close games with that kind of – when he's working – like, make no mistake, that was a very efficient night, a lot of points, but it was not easy, man. I guarantee you he's feeling it right now. That wasn't easy. They gave him a tough time, and I think they're going to need more. They got to move the ball a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Get the ball moving a little bit before you start getting into that stuff instead of pound and then get into that stuff. By the way, JaVale McGee had a big-time play in the fourth, ripped Luka, and went all the way for a Statue of Liberty dunk. It was big time. But, Dallas tightened up the defense in the fourth. That's going to be something they can look at and say, hey, we play a little bit like this, even though Phoenix took their foot off the gas, play a little bit like this, we could have a chance in game 2. And I don't think that this game was the Suns, the Mavs to win. I think this was fully a game for the Suns to win. They were the better team from the second one. And now I'll read the lines. By the way, the Mavs outscored the Suns 35-25 in the fourth quarter. But that was really, as I said, with the Suns taking their foot off the gas. Cam Payne's performance warranted more minutes tonight. He got 19 minutes. Chris Paul actually had 29 minutes. He didn't actually play as much as you'd think. So good. I admire Monty for wanting to play Cam Payne and give him more confidence. And I also admire Chris Paul for sitting on that bench, not making a big scene about it or anything, and stayed efficient and did his thing. The Phoenix Suns win it 121-114. They take a 1-0 lead in the series. They only turned the ball over 9 times. The Mavericks only turned the ball over 8 times, but 5 of those are from one guy, Luka. And the Suns got 30 points off the bench. Cameron Payne, 9 points on 4 for 8 shooting and 5 assists. JaVale McGee, 4 points, 2 for 3. And then Cam Johnson, in 24 minutes of play, he had 17 points. He was really hot from 3 in the second half, made 3 of them out of 6, and 6 for 10 from the field. So 60% shooting, 50% from 3, and great defense for Cam. Also 5 rebounds. Great night for him. For the starters, Jay Crowder didn't score in the second half. He had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Part of why is because Cam Johnson had 24 minutes. Jay had 28. So you saw a good amount of Cam in that second half. Mikhail Bridges was just amazing as usual. 2 blocks. He had this 1 block on a closeout, getting out to a jump shooter and tossed a shot into the corner. I think it was Finney Smith. Just amazing defense. Making Luka work hard, cutting to the basket, and just being a threat in transition. 13 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal and 2 blocks, 0 turnovers. He was +7 in 42 minutes of play. 4 for 9 from the field, 1 for 3 from deep, 4 for 4 from the line. Chris Paul, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. So you see, he was not as ball dominant as usual, only because he also played 29 minutes. And it's good to give him a little bit of a rest after he worked so hard in the first series. 7 for 13 shooting, 2 for 5 from deep. And then Devin Booker, he had a really good game to me. Just went cold as the game went on. Played good defense too. 23 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and only 1 turnover. 7 for 20 shooting. So that's only 35%. That can be better. 1 for 5 from deep. A lot of jump shots as the game went on. 8 for 8 from the line, though. And then Ayton, the player of the game for me. 25 points, 8 boards, no turnovers, 12 for 20 shooting, so 60%. No threes attempted. I'd like to see him get to the free throw line a little bit more, though. Only 1 free throw. And then the Mavs, they shot really well from deep. It was almost keeping them in the game. 16 for 39, 41% from deep, but 18 for 25 from the line. Maxi Kleber missed 3 free throws, 2 for 5. And then Luka missed 3 free throws, 11 for 14, but you'd expect that. Maxi Kleber, 19 points, 6 for 9 shooting, 5 for 8 from 3. I thought he was awesome. Davis Bertans only played 8 minutes, 3 points, 1 for 2 from 3. Those were all his shots. Spencer Dinwiddie, 8 points, 3 for 8 shooting. They're going to need to get it in 30 minutes. So the fact that he only got 8 shots in 30 minutes, you know how Spencer is. Got to get him more involved next game. Finney Smith, 15 points, 6 boards, 5 for 10 shooting, and 2 for 6 from deep. If I'm not mistaken, though, a good amount of those were towards the end. I thought Finney Smith could have been better. I think he's had better games this playoffs. I don't think he was bad necessarily. Reggie Bullock, he was in foul trouble the whole game, fouled out. 7 points, 2 for 7 from the field, all threes. Just didn't think he could find a rhythm because of the fouls. Dwight Powell only played 16 minutes. There's not much to say there. Jalen Brunson, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 for 16 from the field. Needs to get going more early. They need to look for that. And then Luke, as I said, 45, 12, and 8, 15 for 30 from the field, 4 of 11 from deep, 11 for 14 from the line. The rebounding battle, 36-51 in favor of Phoenix, 13-7 on the offensive glass, and two offensive rebounds for Crowder, 3 for Bridges, 3 for Ayton, 3 for Booker. So rebounds, no rebounds, no rings. You're seeing how many. I would love to take a tally of all these games and see how many teams win, like what the record is of the teams that win the rebound battle in the playoffs, because it seems like almost every single game, the rebound battle, the team that wins the rebounding battle wins, at least maybe 75%. By the way, the Suns, 27 assists to the Mavs 16. That tells you something as well. And yeah, but that's it for me tonight, guys. As for the Mavs, I think they got to go a little bit more switch heavy, honestly. I think they got to trust their one-on-one defense, make them work deeper into the shot clock, and then make them drive and kick a little bit more than just making the reads on the pick and rolls. And then I also think get the other guys more involved. The Sixers, they're just screwed without Embiid, really. But anyway, that's it for me tonight, guys. Thanks for joining me. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 a dime. Leave a review if you'd like and let me know what I can do better. Let me know what you want to see. And we'll be back tomorrow night for Game 2's Memphis Golden State. And my favorite series, Boston Milwaukee, need the home teams to get a win. We saw the opposite of yesterday. Both home teams got the win tonight. But good night, everybody. I'm going to get some water, guys, because I'm thirsty as shit. What's up? Oh, my God. I didn't talk about the Kings. I guess I got to say that for this. Go, Kings, go. Say it with me in the chat. Go, Kings, go. One more time. 4-3, baby. Great start to lead 2-0, by the way. Got us a little bit of a safety cushion. Big time saves from Jonathan Quick, my UMass Minuteman buddy, Jonathan Quick. And by the way, I'm not going to front. I got to learn a lot of the Kings' new players. I have not watched full games this year. Ever since I've started Dime Dropper, I have not been watching. I've not been as good as I want to be with soccer, but I'm still pretty tapped in with that, especially Premier League. I just haven't been talking about it because it doesn't really get as many views, but I'm very disappointed in my Chelsea. Very disappointed. I think I did talk about Real Madrid a little bit, the Champions League knockout. We lost. But by the way, as far as Champions League is all I'm going to say on it. Another year goes by and another year where Man City needs to win. Like they need to win. There's no excuse. You have to win. You can't just keep choking this. You got to win this. And this might be the Champions League final we've all been waiting for. Man City, Liverpool, the two best teams of the last 4 years. Come on. We deserve this as fans. We need this. Liverpool and Man City have kind of turned this shit into Real Barcelona in the Premier League these last 4 years. They need to meet in the final. We were robbed of it in 2019 when City lost on away goals to Spurs, and we need it. The streets need it. But anyway, as for the Kings, Iafallo. I hope that's how you say his fucking name. Iafallo with a goal and an assist. And just crazy seeing Anze Kopitar, man. And by the way, if we're talking statues at Staples Center, after Kobe, Anze Kopitar may be the most deserving, and probably is, honestly, unless you want to talk about Wilt Chamberlain or James Worthy. But I think Anze Kopitar is a great case. He's played all his games in the Staples Center, 2 rings. He's our best player, our franchise player. I don't know. Anze has a good argument. But big win for the Kings, take home ice from Edmonton. Big time. The Gretzky, the two teams that are bonded by the great one, the great Wayne Gretzky. We'll take that, though. I'm going to learn these new players, man. I'm going to learn them because I need to be tapped in with my Kings. I know when we were before I went to college, like as of 2018, I knew all our players. You know what I'm saying? I knew everyone. But we went through a huge rebuild, 2019, 2021, not making the playoffs, me being in college, not being able to watch as much, no fans last year. This is my first year with being back in LA with fans with hockey. And you know what? I'm going to go to more games next year, but I'm going to so many Clipper games as it is. Like I'm already going to Staples Center so much, but I got to make more of an effort with my Kings, especially because I'm not as into modern basketball and don't watch as many games, but shit, how much sports can you watch? But anyway, before I get to the comments, I'm going to fucking get a drink of water. Don't leave. What's up, Kyle's Takes? Go, Kings, go. 1 down, 15 to go. Yes, sir. Heat in 5, Bucks in 6. Warriors in 7. E-Rod throwing his picks out. And I hate to say it, Suns in 5. The motherfuckers are chanting Suns in 4. First win since 2016 for the Kings. We'll leave it at that before I get my water. Back. 12 people in the live. That's my bad. I started a little late tonight because the Kings game. I don't know if anyone thinks the same as me, but ever since 2019, I don't think DJ should be getting any sort of minutes. Yeah, like you said before, time to hang it up. Yeah, I agree with that. I've been saying it. You're not the only one who thinks so, says Showtime Nick. I'm with you on that. Crazy Laker fans had DJ on their team this year. Kyle Stick says, whenever I see him on the floor for even 1 second, I'm like, who is this clown of a coach? DJ's doing absolutely nothing on the floor. Yeah. Oh, my back. Dime, compare Harden in 2015 and 2018-19. Was there any differences in his game, especially the 2015 series? Yes, there were actually huge differences. One, He wasn't as heliocentric, like on the ball all the time. Howard used to get more post touches here and there. He would actually shoot mid ranges. I actually liked the way James Harden played back then. Like, I think that's when he still started getting those. I'm not sure if it was 2014 or 15 when he started getting like fouls, and he was starting to get known as a guy that really good at drawing fouls, but it wasn't as heinous back then. He wouldn't do the falling shit all the time. And I thought he embraced the mid range. So I didn't actually mind Harden's game. I actually liked him. Random Kawhi facts here from Haseli. It says Heat won back-to-back rings in 2012 and 13. Kawhi ended their chance of three-peating in 2014. Warriors won back-to-back rings in 2017 and 18. And again, Kawhi ended their chance of three-peating in 2019. You sure that wasn't Danny Green? I'm just fucking with you. But no, I mean, players can win and lose. And I mean, they can take over games and shit, but teams win and lose as well. I don't like just saying Kawhi single-handedly, but I feel what you're saying. Kawhi and Danny Green, though. We got to give Danny Green his flowers, too. He was a starter on both. All I'm saying is if the Bucks win it all this year, say the Clippers will be the 2023 champs, the Colossians will be the dynasty destroyer. Ooh, I like that, actually. I like that. Maybe. Imagine. He would go up all time if he does that for a third time, says Kyle's Takes. Duh. Is the number one dime jumper enemy Glenn Rivers? Yeah, and plumber Jim Harden, and JJ Baby Dick, and anybody that disrespects the history of the game. Bronzexuals are. Oh, yeah, and Rudy. Yeah, facts. Glenn Rivers, Plumber Jim, Escargot Bear, Choke Jog Jingles. Yeah, Bronzexuals, Gen Z bots, mainly. At Kyle's Takes, I remember hearing Jordan Clankton last year in one. No, Jordan Clankson, not Clankton. Oh, don't forget Glenifer. Oh, that was on a tweet. Cock Rivers, yeah. Kleba's 5 threes were all first half. There you go. Glenifer. Sorry, Dime, but I'm rooting for the Teddies to come out the West, as unlikely as that's looking like. They stole my heart as an organization after that. Oh, my God. After that 1-8 upset against the Spurs, what about playing us in the next year? How about that? Kyle's Takes this. That's excluding all the nicknames of the Clippers in 2020, like Kawit or from the Clot of the Clot. Yeah. He says I'm willing to put the 2012 and 13 beef aside. Hey, man, everybody got to do their own thing, right? I just can't. It was too. Is the Clipper rivalry why you don't like the Grizzlies Teddy Bears? Yes, it is. I mean, Lob City was an interesting time for me because I don't know about Cameron, but a lot of people have been fans since, at least for me, I was fans since Brandon them. So Lob City was like my second playoff Clipper team. So like the one that I was like older and excited for, ready to go, not a little kid anymore. I had some expectations. So I was a little disappointed. Like when shit would go wrong, I'd get disappointed. I was so into that team. Like I remember I don't remember when we got Elton Brand. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't watching basketball yet, but I remember when we got Chris Paul. I remember when we drafted Blake. I remember what our games looked like before Blake. I remember how everything changed at school, my life, my day-to-day happiness. So all the Lob City seasons, like I could tell you, I would put myself in a room next to anyone and talk Lob City. And I may have a different perspective on it than some. I think people are way too blamey on Glenn Rivers in some ways. Funny, I know that's ironic coming from me, but a lot of my Glenn Rivers shit is like just repeated mistakes, because when it comes to the 2020 team and the teams that we choked, who's the common denominator between the 3-1 besides the Clipper organization and us who don't play? Glenn Rivers. You know what I'm saying? He's the only Ballmer doesn't play. So that's the reason why I'm pissed at him. But the players need to take their own accountability. Like Chris Paul, he couldn't stay healthy for one, and then he couldn't get a bucket when we needed it in Game 6. He didn't get enough buckets. He couldn't seal the deal. He's so good at closing the door. He couldn't close the door there. And you can say maybe it was the injury. Man, when they Chris Paul is like, you just don't want him to be your go-to scorer to win a championship. He's 6 feet tall. He's not a 25-plus point a game scorer. He can get you that, but there's a reason why that's not his game. And Blake Griffin wasn't reliable enough. I blame Chris the least, though, in that 3-1. Because Chris actually was hooping and doesn't do stupid shit. Blake Griffin, DJ, and all the role players didn't show up either. Jamal could have been better. Don't even get me started on JJ after Game 4. And then Barnes. I love Barnes. He worked his ass off, but he didn't play well enough. And don't even get me started on our bench, besides Austin Rivers, who actually played well. But DJ and Blake's mistakes in that Game 6, the way they played defense, they just looked like they were gassed, didn't know what to do, just lost they forgot how to play basketball, like as crazy as that sounds. saving the ball underneath our own basket, no communication on pick and rolls, and Josh Smith just went crazy. But it's okay. We need Dubs revenge on our Grizzlies. Plus, got to show that Teddy's love for taking a chance on Haddadi. Oh, okay. I like that. Yeah, one time, have you heard this story? One time I went to a game. It was in 2010. Clippers in Memphis. It was my first time seeing the Memphis Teddy Bears live. And it was Iranian Heritage Night. So there was a section. I got the game because of this. And everybody's wearing these green t-shirts for Iran. I have the t-shirt still, Iranian Heritage Night. And I'm like, what the fuck? I ain't wearing no green ass t-shirt. I'm wearing my fucking Baron Davis jersey. So I walked in my Baron Davis jersey. Everybody's wearing green. I'm wearing this red. Everybody there cares about Hamed. I'm like, I'm at a Clipper. It's another Clipper game. Like, it's another Clipper game. And they're screaming on the, like in certain situations, Hamed. And he like waved to the crowd and they go nuts. And he's not getting any burn. And it was Lionel Hollins who was the coach of the Grizzlies at this time. And I thought it was Mark Ivoroni still. And I remember they were just like, put in Hamed. Everybody was screaming. I was just into the game. We were down by 20. I couldn't give two shits about Hamed. We were down by 20. And then all of a sudden, you can find the video on YouTube. I'll post the link, honestly, in the description if you guys want. We came back. This is one of the first big comeback games I'd ever gone to. We came back. Al Thornton and Eric Gordon led the charge. That was big time. I remember that was a hype game. And by the end, everybody was just like, oh, me and my homie Matthew, we were rooting for the Clippers. We're Clipper fans. So the Iranians in the section were like, oh, it's actually a great game. These guys want him to win. We'll just all start rooting for the LA team. And it just became a lit game. And I remember my friend's dad joked when the Clippers, everybody was on their feet, timeout Grizzlies, fourth quarter. And he just jokingly was like, oh, man. Oh, like after nobody cares anymore. It was great. And this is the most ridiculous part, right? I think Lionel Hollins, by the way, I've got a hell of a lot of respect for him as a player and as a coach. But Lionel Hollins didn't put in Hamed Haddadi against my poverty-ass 23 and 59 Clippers. And then like a week later, I was watching them on KCAL 9, and they're playing the defending champion Lakers, and Hamed was in the second quarter of a close game. Oh, my God. That was like, what do you think? All right, man, you got a problem with the Iranians? Like, I don't know. Whatever. Go Clippers, right? That's a story for you. Kyle's take says right because he's off that now as far as I'm aware. Or for baseball, the Vagiants. Oh, yeah, they're always the Vagiants. Except I know he didn't make that one up. Yeah, I didn't. How I know is because I saw Vagiants in the comments of my video with the San Francisco Giants from Dodger fans. Yeah, we don't fuck with them. No more nicknames for those Clippers because they broke the curse. Not going to lie, that was so fun to watch. That game is still crazy to look back today. Absolutely, Kyle. I always watch it when I need to be cheered up. Cameron says, one of my housemates is a huge Dubs fan, and watching games with him is 8. He does a great job making me want to root against them. I feel that. Is he from Northern California? Showtime Nick says, so true about Kobe's conditioning. I've only seen Kobe get gassed once in his prime, and that was in a Denver playoff game where it's high altitude. Which game? Warriors fan unironically thinks Steph is the GOAT. The GOAT of history of basketball? Which non-Clipper players' games you got so used to watching, the details of how they play just because the Clippers met them so many times in the playoffs? Ooh. I'd say I got to know fucking Nash pretty well. Just because the Lakers and the Clippers always played them. Well, mostly the Lakers, but the Spurs, I mean, bro, I'll be able to tell my grandkids about those motherfuckers. Oh my God, tortured me. Obviously the Lakers, Kobe, Pau Gasol, every Laker. But nothing like the Spurs. LeBron, obviously. Not because the Clippers played him in the playoffs, but I got to know him super well. Zebo, Mark, Tony Allen, Conley, KD, Russ. We played them once, but we played KD. Clippers played KD twice, but the Lakers played them in 2012 and 2010. So I got to know Harden or KD and Russ pretty well. That's as far as I can go. I mean, I watched every playoff series when I was a kid of everybody, but like those are from playing the Clippers, like, yeah, those guys. Kyle's take says, is it still unbelievable that the 2021 Clipper playoffs started out so horribly, being down 0-2 to the Mavs and ended up being the curse-breaking year? Yes, it absolutely is, man. Like, just thinking about it, at the time, I really thought we were done. I thought we were going to have to break up the team for a second. Like, all those visions were going through my mind. Like, we did all this. We came this whole way. I've been talking about how Ty Lue was so much better. Regular season the process was good. And here we are, like, playing against the hungry Luka. Man, that was crazy. Crazy resilience, yeah. And they were down 30 to 11 in game 3. It's about to be a Kawhi Leonard game. It became a Kawhi Leonard game. Kawhi and Paul George, they all killed. Cameron says this issue is Luka as the team leader in points, assists, rebounds, whereas the Suns have a star playmaker, scorer, and rim protector. Yeah, it's just a better team. Showtime Nick says no rebounds, no rings. Yeah, we can talk about the officiating all we want in Game 7 of the 2010 finals. The Lakers still severely out-rebounded the Celtics. The refs didn't do that. Facts. Kobe 6 for 24 in that game may be bad, but he still had 15 rebounds, more than Kevin Garnett. Kyle's take says, wasn't that game famous, the Ron saved Kobe game? Yeah, see, I don't like these narratives, man. Saves him. How many other people shot efficiently that game? Like, he still got 15 boards, and how many points did Kobe have in the fourth? Let's talk about that. Made a big jumper coming off a screen, got to the line. Come on. You fuck with Liverpool or nah? Not really. I watched their games, though. Hell yeah, I watched their games. Not really, though. Nah, I'm Chelsea through and through, bro. Kyle's take says, oh, yeah, did you see the little thing about Jay nut kick flagrant 1 versus Dre's flagrant 2? That drove me crazy. Yeah. Lou Will statue at Staples. Who says no? I say no, because it's not happening. He was with us for not even 4 years. I love Lou Williams, man, but a lot of Clipper fans be gassing it with Patrick Beverly and Lou Williams. I love them, though. But they're not Chris Paul and Blake, man. They're not. I'm sorry. Chris Paul and Blake, like, what they did for the Clippers, it's never going to be forgotten. It changed the Clippers. So many fans jumped on the bandwagon during Lob City. It's not even the bandwagon. Some people just became Clipper fans during Lob City because they were cool. You think they would have been Clipper fans when we sucked? I don't know if I would have been a Clipper fan when we sucked. I got 1 year, though. 1 year window with that 06 team. But anyway. Showtime Nick says, how much sports can you watch? Yeah, that's why I go with the ones I grew up playing, and tennis a little bit because my mom's really into it, and I did take tennis lessons growing up. Yeah, tennis is dope. I watch Grand Slams, big games. I never was on a tennis team, though, or played in a real match. I definitely don't know about tennis to be making YouTube videos about it, though. That's how I feel about hockey. Sienna McKenna says, yo, Dime, listening at work. What's up, man? Out there in England? I don't like saying the UK because England is more specific. Enrique Rodriguez says, I can't believe I was excited to have DJ on the Lakers. He was utter dog shit. Why would you ever be excited to have DJ on the Lakers? And Enrique Rodriguez says, I never liked it at all, but I did also expect the Lakers to figure it out eventually, and they didn't. Clangston, yeah, I remember that was a typo. Kyle's take says, wait, since when did that JJ nickname start? Bro, what? I've been calling him JJ Baby Dick since 2017. That may have actually been I was either my friend NV or my friend AG. But he got that nickname when Joe Ingles played him off the floor in 2017, and he's only getting that nickname further when he's become this detractor of the old game. He knows his shit when it comes to the modern game, but he's on that evolution. Nobody knows how to dribble. Bob Cousy couldn't dribble with his left hand. The plumbers, like he said that when a professional player is saying plumbers on national television, you're cooked. We're cooked. What I'm trying to do, we're cooked. Gordon Martin says Lob City was overrated. I never said we weren't. But as far as Clipper history, you have to acknowledge what that did. Or also Chris Paul in 2014. I forgot which game it was, but 2 turnovers in the last 17 seconds. It was game 5. I don't know if you saw JJ podcast with Draymond, but he called the Lob City Clippers frontrunners. You agree? Yeah, I do. I watched that clip. I watched part of it. It's crazy. All these Clipper fans like JJ so much. Like, he's fucking dude used to shoot lights out in the regular season, and when it came to the playoffs, he used to brick when it mattered in the second round. He played well in the first round against Golden State. I think he played well in the 2014. He was fine that year. 2015, killed it all up until those last 3 games against Houston. He was nowhere to be found. And then against Portland, he had a little injury. He could not make shots. He still played actually. He was still decent in that one. But 2017, I was like, bro, because all his numbers were always drop. He's getting open shots. 2017, he had nothing besides that little curl from the baseline, left to right. Like, oh, my God. And his defense was so average, and at the end, they exposed his ass. And Glenn Rivers used to put him in with Jamal Crawford in the same lineup when we had Luke Mute in a grown man's league. I'm not even responding to this. Because, yes. Do you have live reactions of previous Clipper games before 2020? I have like a 9-minute recap audio file of our 2019 against the comeback, 31 points against Warriors. And then I also have videos of me at some of the games, but I don't know. They're not high res enough to post. Maybe one day if you really want that. But I don't know how high res they are. And then, like, I had game 7 videos, guys, and I don't remember what happened to that phone. I think my dad gave it away without even knowing that those important videos were there. And so, like, I lost some of my game 7 videos against the Spurs, which fucking sucked. I still have the game winner, though, thank God, because I posted it on Instagram, Chris Paul. But I almost dropped my phone, so I didn't actually get the ball going through the hoop. But I got the roar of the crowd. Other than that, not really. I have a video I found and my friend took of me during game 4 of that series against the Rockets, and when Austin Rivers was getting off, and game 3 against the Rockets, and I was just like going nuts about Austin Rivers in my living room. He said it was game 3, I think, in Denver. The Lakers won and Kobe scored 41, but I remember he was breathing really heavily in the post-game interview. Post-game interview, if that's what you're going to, then that makes Kobe look even better. Yeah, so that doesn't mean it's not even what I'm saying, man. He said Kobe did close that game out really well. He scored 13 points in that fourth quarter, but I do remember him breathing really heavily while being interviewed after the game. A lot of guys are on there after the game. Cameron Naselli says, love the Haddadi story. I remember watching a video of Iranian Heritage Night when they played the Warriors in 2009. So if you have the Clippers one, link it up, Dime. Yeah, I'll post it. No intro for today. I just don't care anymore. When I watched the live, it was hilarious. When was that? Oh. Yeah, I don't know what was that. To the Mavs recap. Also, you sent me that pic on Twitter of you and Hamed when he was his son. What's the story on that one? Oh, so the story on that one is this. In 2013, so my aunt used to live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and her husband is a dentist. And he had a patient that was Polish, and he knew Marcin Gortat. And Marcin Gortat, this was like when he was like in his prime, basically, like about to go to Washington. And he was on the Suns, but he had an injury at this time. I went to a game, not for free. We paid for the ticket. So the one time I've been to a Suns game, it was dead. They'd already been eliminated from playoff contention. It was the 12-13 season. It was against Boogie and the Kings and Isaiah Thomas. Goran Dragic didn't even play. But so after the game, we got a chance to go like backstage outside the locker room and wait for the players to come out and sign shit. And I got an autograph from everybody except for even Goran Dragic. When I went to the locker room, I saw Goran walking out with his girlfriend. I was like, yo, Goran. I was like, Mr. Dragic. And he was like, hello. I'm like, can you sign this for me? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, I'm really a big fan. I love that pass you made through Steve Nash's legs. He's like, oh, thank you. And he had a thicker accent a little bit back then, but that was nice of him. And then I met everybody on the team basically, or like got something signed by everyone except for Shannon Brown and Jermaine O'Neal, who weren't there, which I really wanted those two, especially Jermaine O'Neal. But Michael Beasley, he was with his kid. I didn't really say anything to him. I was a huge Michael Beasley fan, though. And then the Morris twins, who would never have thought they would become what they became and how good Marcus Morris would become. But I remember I was like, Markeith, and Mook was like, no, I'm Marcus. And I was like, oh, sorry. And they were so intimidating, bro. In street clothes, they literally look exactly the same. It's like impossible to tell the difference unless you know them. And then Gortat was really nice. PJ Tucker, believe it or not, was the nicest one of them all. He was the only one who stopped and shook all of our hands, my parents, my sister's hand, my parents, and he grabbed the shirt, he spread it out wide and wrote a big ass signature. So PJ Tucker, I've always fucked with him from that day forward because he was so nice. Of all people, right? The guy that's like the hothead asshole that they paid him out to be, right? He looks on the court. He was the nicest one of them all. But the funniest thing was the best signature I got that day wasn't even from a current NBA player. It was from an ex-NBA player. Tall ass motherfucker walks out. And I'm, being the childhood mini historian I was at the time, I go, he's like, he comes up and he goes, you want me to sign? He goes to my sister's like, want me to sign? And she was like, sure. She had no idea who he was. He saw how tall he was. And so he starts signing. It just says RS. And I had a hunch. I was thinking who this was. And I was like, yo, you Ralph Sampson? He's like, I sure am. And I'm like, yo, no way. Like, I was thinking in my head, I was like, this is more significant than anybody that I just got signature from. And I was like, damn, that shot against the Lakers was amazing. And he was like, oh, thanks. But obviously, I ran into Ralph Sampson years later at a Subway in LA after we talked for a while. He's a great guy, by the way. If you ever see Ralph Sampson out in public, say hi to him because he was super nice and he's impressed when you know who he is. He's so fucking tall. He's the tallest person I've ever seen in my life, like up close like that. He was so tall. You couldn't believe it. But anyway. By the way, oh yeah, so Hamed was there too, and we got to speak in Farsi with him and take a picture and everything. And Showtime Nick says, people told me Pau Gasol should have won Finals MVP in 2010. Yeah, it's garbage. That's forgetting what the first 6 games were like. I love that, but that's fucking horseshit. Not like Pau was efficient in Game 7 either. As a 7-footer, he shot under 40%. Cameron Aselli said DJ was minus 114 in like 3 minutes on the floor tonight. Johnny Akparanta says, "What? Hey, I recognize this logo. What adjustments could the Celtics use to stop Giannis?" Well, I think actually they did a decent job in limiting him the other day, 9 for 25. But I legitimately think there's not much better you can do. You got to hope the role players miss. Because how are you going to, like, when you can't fully hand check all the time, how are you going to stop him from getting past you? You know what I'm saying? Or like getting 2 feet in the paint. Even with hand checking, sometimes he's too strong. Like, it's very tough. You're gonna have to, you can't guard Giannis with one guy. I don't know what else they can do. Maybe try a little bit of zone. Maybe try to get the ball out of his hands. Eric S. I'm not sure if this is Eric from Twitter. If it is, let me know. That says, do you have English background? Have you been to a Chelsea game? I don't have English background, but my aunt moved. So just the same way my parents moved from Iran to Los Angeles, my auntie, the other one. So my dad has 2 sisters, one that lived in Arizona, but now she was in Seattle. So bring back them Sonics. And then the other one the older one lives in London. So Chelsea is the closest club to her. So that's my affiliation with the club. I have been to a Chelsea game. I could post that vlog in the summer if you want. It could be a vlog. Like there's legit videos in there. It's actually really cool. I think I'm gonna do it. I'll do it for you guys. But the best one's Man City Liverpool. That one's like nuts. I got Aguero's goal on video too. But no, I did go to the game against Southampton on January 2nd. 2019. No, I actually think it was January 2nd, 2019. It was amazing. It was 0-0 though, which sucked. But I got to see Eden Hazard, who was my favorite player like ever. Maybe my favorite athlete ever. I got to see him play one more time, and that was his last season with us. So just being at Stamford Bridge was an out-of-body experience. Like it was so cool. And you know what's crazy about Stamford Bridge? I didn't even feel like I was a fish out of water. Because like when you go to other stadiums, you kind of feel like a fish out of water. Like when I'm at Staples Center, I literally feel like I'm at home, like literally in my living room. Whereas every other stadium, I feel like, oh my God, it's like they almost know me. It's like I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, do they know I'm not a fan? Like even if I'm wearing a gear, like a shirt, like a Celtics shirt, I'll be at a Celtics shirt with my Celtics game with my Tatum shirt on, and I'll be like, man, do they know that I'm not a Celtics fan? Because I don't feel really like fully comfortable out here. Like this is kind of foreign territory for me. But they obviously don't. But it's just funny. It feels that way internally. But for Chelsea, it didn't really, because so many people next to me were like not from England. You could tell like there was some Koreans sitting next to me, like Asians, and then you could see like African people. Like it was insane. Like you could see in the Man City Liverpool game and the Chelsea game, as opposed to the other 2 games I went to, Crystal Palace and Fulham, that there were people from everywhere around the world at these games. It's not like basketball or American sports. These motherfuckers were from everywhere for these big clubs, like everywhere. You could have a person coming from freaking Bangladesh at these games. Dime, you hoop, pull up to Santa Barbara. You go to UCSB? Of course I play. I haven't played in a little bit, but I'm never turning down that. Maybe. I've been thinking about it. One of my homies goes to UCSB. I may be down. 2014 Game 5 choke was so crazy. When I look at it every now and then, 7-point lead with like 40 seconds left. Very uncharacteristic of CP3. Yeah, it was the worst moment of his career. Well, you have the 2019 Game 2 versus Dubs. It'll be cool to see a reaction. Of course, it sucked for me. Yeah, that may be his thing where you need to message me or email or something, and then I'll send it to you, because I think that's the only way I can do it. Gridiron God says Jimbo flopped and not a 750 top player. Is this somebody I know? Jimbo said that. Enrique Rodriguez says players just disappear in the playoffs. Like some players in the Dodgers. Kershaw, dominant in the regular season, not the same in the playoffs. Manny Machado on that 1 year in LA, pop-up after pop-up. Yeah, how about Trey Turner last year? JCO Lee says, I'm not a dentist anymore. You're not that guy. John Heber, what's up, Dime? What's up, man? Kyle says, you think Marcus will be on the Clippers next year? If I have to bet, I'm going to say no, honestly. John Heber says, I played shoot the cookie with half of the Celtics back in 2012. The what? What's that? You like that? Yeah, I met Ralph Sampson twice, and I took a picture with him. Ralph Sampson's the man. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Johnny Acaparanta for the super chat. I really appreciate you, bro. It's my first time seeing you in here. Cameron decides UCSB game. Speaking of which, Gabe Vincent putting us on the map. Facts. Oh, yeah. Anything else, guys? Just over midnight here out in Los Angeles. Anything else? Look it up. Greatest game there is. Okay. Okay, John Heber. Am I saying that right? Heber? I don't know why, man. My throat be getting dry. Wow, 14 people is the most in the live tonight. All right. I guess that's it. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.